So here's our pond, 67 paces long by 22 paces wide, roughly. Probably a bit more than 22, but that's it. And it's an activity pond, and with a bit of sympathy to nature, but the primary use is an activity pond. But we have one end that we reserve for nature. We don't disturb that end and the island, but the other island is used for activities, pioneering projects, kayaking and rafting. So let's have a quick look round. To keep our pond maintained, we occasionally have we have work days, of course, where it's necessary, before the rafting, it's necessary to remove the blanket weed or any tangly type weed and bits of wood. There's always pieces of wood in the water, as you can see, and they eventually sink. So we have work days to clear them out, usually prior to the activity, to make sure that it is safe. The depth of the water, the depth is in the middle, it's about 3 foot deep. It varies according to the requirements of the day. We can put a gate in which restricts or lets it flow. On the edge here is about 6 foot deep with about 2 foot of mud. It's spring fed. It very often smells of methane. And from this angle there's the wildlife island. The ducks can get on it and make their nests. Then we've got, at this end, we've got the weed, the lilies. We've got a few wide leaf lilies, and this is supposedly our wildlife area where we let the brambles grow up in the summer, and so we don't access this bit. And there's the outlet. There's the outlet over there. So what we're really trying to do is make the pond, it's an activity pond, and we're trying to make it safe. As safe as a pond can be. So we trim all the foliage around the outside to just about 800 or 900 eye. We've planted trees so that they grow and they can be cut off, and then they bush out, and that gives us the roots then give us a solid bank, and you've got a fence. And then of course we've got the areas where the activities go on. We've got sleepers there with stones, because they use this for pioneering across onto that island, and then across onto the other bank where we've got a platform there as well. And next week we'll be rafting on this here pond. So here we go. This is the 3-pronged hook. Now it works. Chris is just picking up the remains of his last haul, and then we'll go for a new one. This is the problem with it. You've got to, if you do get a lot, you can't lift it all out. The whole thing will depend on the size of the prongs of your hook. There's no point in them having them too big, otherwise you end up with too much. But basically that's how it works. And there's no point in pulling it fast, because you want it to go down into the weed. And you want it to pull it out of pull its roots out basically. We don't always get a big haul, do we? as you can see by the pile that we've got there, that Chris has been working here for a while now. Each oh well, oh I don't know though, there we go. That I would say would be a typical haul, wouldn't it? And it is only a small hook, as you can see, but it's really a case of having the hook the size that you can manage, and depending on how clogged up the lake is, and then he picks up the odd bits and pieces that's come off. Oops. Well, that's when the hooks are right way up. So what we got is just a stick with lots of bits sticking out on, okay? And the longer the stick the better. And it goes in the pond like so. Push down into the weed. Give it a couple of twists. And then, all being well, there we go. How about that? That's how it works. How's that? Just let the water run out of that typically. One further thing that we can do for a healthy pond, well, in my opinion a healthy pond, it doesn't always follow that one person's view of a healthy pond is another's. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to test it for acidity with some litmus paper. Years ago we put chalk on the banks. As you can see, it's just beginning to show through. There's a view from this end. This is the nature end, and that's the nature island. We've got a lily in the middle. We've done that to get the spread of the pads. That keeps the sunlight off the water and stops the build up of that blanket weed. And along here, the cuttings that we put in last year, I think, most of these went in, and they're all quite sprating up now. Well, now they'll all be taken off at about 700 high. So the roots are forming the bank, and the stems are forming a fence, basically. These stakes that are here, they were what we put in originally, and they formed our fence, a made fence. But most of that fencing got pulled off and thrown in. Now, as you can see, the gate is nothing much different to a piece of 3-inch downpipe, and then a couple of 62s cut to fit exactly, with slots in. That's only just to guide it down really, and then that goes down. That shot right up my trouser leg. There we go, and that stops dead. And then we've got another one. We've lost the lock off of there, but we've got the other one. We can actually put that lock on and put a padlock on it. Or if we want, we can take that shallow one out and put the double one in. In the summer, that is how we have the pond. In the winter, we take them all out, so the pond is low, and then the banks don't become sodden. So, I don't know if that gives you any ideas. Then, as you can see, that is quite a long concrete wall retaining the water. That concrete goes well in under the bank. We put this in a couple of years ago. And then underneath this slab here, if I'm very careful, I can show you, we've got a pipe that we can drain it. There's also, that drains it to a certain depth. Also, but you can't see it, there's another one down in there which also will drain the pond, deeper of course. Here is a picture of when we installed the higher pipe from the pond side, and here is a picture of the lower pipe from the outlet side. And then buried under the ground along here somewheres, I can't even find it, there's another one, but it's an overflow. You can't see it, but it, oh, actually I do know where it is. It's in there. I'm not going to go in there and give everyone a laugh of me falling in, but the outlet is here, going round. Ah, there we go. There's the outlet. As you can see, it's just bubbling up there. Oh, you can see the end of the pipe there, look. There we go. You might just be able to see the end of the pipe there. So there's the pond there, look. So you can see now the water level's dropped. You can see there's the end of the pipe, the overflow pipe. And there it is, free flowing without any gating after we've had quite a bit of rain. There we go, there's one of our rafts. Shall we do it? Then we've got some kiddies coming to go on.